Hey y'all, come on in.
We are in my dad's kitchen tonight. This is so exciting. We're technically in Georgia, but we're bringing back our roots from Bayou La Batre, Alabama. Let's get started. What are you going to cook?
Stuffed flounder.
All right.
So right now I'm cutting up some green onion real fine, and we're going to put this in the crab meat, shrimp and crab stuffing. And we're going to use sweet onion from Bayou, Georgia. So I use olive oil, so we're going to coat, turning it down to a low to a medium low. Start with while that's going. When I'm doing these type dishes, I like to split the celery down so they're smaller pieces. It fits well with the recipe. Bell pepper was more prominent in South Alabama, and that's why it was used quite often. Saute for a little bit. So now we're going to sprinkle just a little bit of sweet basil on it. Enough. Paw Pudon vegetable magic. Enough. And I really started liking this Old Bay garlic and herb seasoning I found down in Bayou La Batre when I was down at Christmas. And we'll add the seafood magic a little later, a little bit more. Do a little touch right now. Ooh, that looks good. I'm rinsing and drying the flounder. And we'll cut this later in just a minute. As kids, we used to, all through elementary school and whatever, we'd go around the beaches in Bayou La Batre, made sure we had our old Converse tennis shoes on, and a gig.
What's a gig?
And a light. A gig is a pole that's got a point on the end of it like a nail, and a light, and you shuffle through the water, and you have a rope tied on you, and you're dragging a galvanized bucket behind your wash tub, and when you're gigging, you throw them in the wash tub, and you just keep going. So now what we're going to do is we got to butterfly this open. So we're just taking the meat, going right along the bone line. Pulling it back, and this is where the stuffing's going to go in later. I think our vegetables are getting close now.
How do you know when they're close?
I just see it.
Well, what are you seeing?
Well, I'm seeing where it's glistening. I'm seeing where it's got a little burn, but it's not burnt. We're going to melt down just a little butter to pour down into the cavities. I'm just pouring a little butter in the cavity, just a little bit, so that butter can go through that layer there and get down in the bottom layer of the fish. Now we're going to start working on the shrimp and crab, so we're going to add some butter. And all of my ingredients are organic. All the vegetables are organic. We try to use organic as clean as we can on our vegetables. So those will be ready. They're ready, so we're going to turn those off. So these shrimp I'm going to chop down to be part of the ingredient for the shrimp and crab meat stuffing.
So where'd you get this shrimp, Dad?
I was in Bayou La Batre for Christmas, so we went, and these shrimp were caught somewhere offshore, not somewhere in the Sound off of Dauphin Island. They were brought in that morning, and we bought straight off the boat. They had heads on them. So we go back home, and we pop all the heads, and we actually put in Ziploc bags, enough for 2 people, and we just make multiple bags, and we freeze. And then we have it in the freezer here, so whenever we need
Because
it.
you don't want to buy shrimp at just the regular grocery store.
No, I don't. It is so hard to find shrimp today. Everything is coming out of Indonesia and Thailand and all farm raised, and nothing against that product. I do eat them. I like to eat Ecuadorian farm raised if I can find them, but I minimize my farm raised experience. So this is for one fish. That's for the other fish. Gonna go into the cavities, into the stuffing. So I'm gonna start sauteing. Some people just put it straight in and cook, but I'll saute everything myself. So I'm gonna start sauteing. So on the shrimp, I'm gonna add just a little bit of Worcestershire sauce, along with some Cape Fall Seafood Magic. There's all kind of seafood blends, and I'm gonna add some garlic and herb, just a little bit seasoning. Saute these around. Ooh, look at that. The crab is from Bayou La Batre also, fresh picked the morning that we bought it. We bought 6 or 8 pounds of claw meat. I like to use claw meat personally myself. So now I'm kind of picking through my crab meat to make sure there's not little shells. And this all looks really good. I'm going to add that to the shrimp. And we're just going to, not on high heat, maybe low medium. We're just going to let that simmer in there for a minute. For my stuffing, I use just a herb seasoning stuffing. Get it from Sprouts. Organic. I just crush it up. You can use bread, 2 slices of bread. Some people use crackers. Some people brown their bread differently. I just found for me, this flavor's good. So when you folks up in Maryland and North Carolina and South Carolina and Florida and Georgia and all over the place, and you see what I'm doing, you think, man, that guy's butchering that recipe. No, he's not, because it tastes good when we finish. We're going to add our, so now we're going to put our mayonnaise. So we're adding our egg whites. Normally a recipe for 1 flounder would call for only 1, but we've got 2, so we're going to try 2. Now we're going to mix in our egg white. Mix in some vegetables. So now we're going to stuff flounder.
Those hands look like hardworking hands, Dad.
They are.
Those aren't
I'm
girl
sorry,
hands.
my hands. I'm sorry, my hands are ugly today. But I've been working.
Well.
All right. There you go.
Stuffed flounder.
All right. So at a very high-end 5-star, if they did serve stuffed flounder, that's probably a $30 fish. And that's probably a $30 fish.
I like how you told me how much that fish cost at a high-end restaurant, because I do that every time I cook for the kids. Okay. I say, if we were at the 5-star restaurant, this meal would cost whatever, you know? Yep. I guess I got that from you.
So this flounder is pretty thick. So I'm going to go in at 375, no, 400 now, just to get everything heated up for about 30-35 minutes, but I'll be checking it on the way.
Okay, Dad, how the flounder looking?
about another 20, 25 minutes, another 15 minutes. I'm going to move them up to the top and broil them from there. So, but they are looking good. So we're going to check on our shrimp and crab stuffed flounder. Looking really good. I think what I'm going to do now is put it up top. Nope, I'm going to leave it there and I'm going to broil it from there. We're going to put a little bit of broil on top of it. Get it a little bit of crispy. I'm going to put it about 4 minutes on high broil, but I got it down on the lower shelf. So it looks like the stuffed flounder with shrimp and crab meat is all ready. Ooh, look at that.
Okay, moment of truth. Let's taste the flounder.
Yes. A little bit crunchy. Ooh.
Delicious.
Will white flaky meat has a distinct flavor. Good meat.